Brunette, William Kostrov, and Tommy Kazmarek. The time
the dressing rooms of two of the most exciting and colorful welterweights in the world today. Number 6 ranked Marlon, the Magic Man Starling from Hartford, Connecticut, and Jose the Threat Baret from New York. Now living in New York, originally from the Dominican Republic. Marlon Starling has lost only one fight in 27 professional contests, and that fight was here on CBS in a unification of the USBA and North American titles against Donald Curry. And many observers felt that showboating right there cost him a split decision against Donald Curry, but he says he has learned from it and is ready to take on this young man. Somewhat of a mystery man, Jose Baret, unbeaten in 16 bouts, 15 knockouts along the way. Fighting out of Madison Square Garden, Baret has used power from both hands to flatten 12 of his victims in under 2 rounds. So far, his awesome windmill style has kept his pro experience to a minimum, just 35 rounds in 16 professional bouts. But today he is stepping up in class to test himself against a world-ranked contender in Marlon Starling, and he will need all of that awesome punching power and the opportunity to learn from the boxing stylist in Marlon Starling. Baret and Starling, a compelling welterweight battle coming up later today.
Tim, speaking of welterweights, the former champ, handsome Sugar Ray Leonard, is with us here in our New York studio. We'll share his insights into today's fight. We'll also discuss the many changes and controversies that are taking place in the boxing world. And we're going to be talking live with another champion who is opted to retire at the prime of his career, 5-time Wimbledon champion Bjorn Brown. You were covering that fight for CBS. Did it cost him that victory that day?
It did, Brent. Marlon Starling has so much natural talent. I mean, as far as mobility and fast hands, he brings too much animation to the ring. If he leave it at home, he'll be far more effective.
You're his hero. So perhaps he's trying to emulate the show business that you had, that presence in the ring.
Yes, but there's a right time and a wrong time for it. That particular time, it was costly. It was a big cost. I mean, he was going up against a guy that could shoot him to take my place.
All right. You sit right here, help me score it. Let's send everybody out now to Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy. It is fight time in Atlantic City. Tim?
All right, Brent, we have this important 10-round welterweight bout coming up. Jose the Threat Baret, Marlon Magic Man Starling. Both of these nicknames are certainly due, these two young performers. We are here at ringside. Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy. And Gil, let's talk first about this young man, Jose Baret, because he's really not well known outside of the gymnasiums of New York, where he's been building quite a reputation.
Tim, he's the most talked about fighter that come out of the tough gymnasiums in New York in many a year. His punching power in the gym is becoming legend. Railbirds tell you about him hitting guys with the big gloves on the chest and knocking them out. But I have to stress that his power is raw. He doesn't have that much professional experience, and it remains to be seen whether he can handle a guy like Starling.
Well, one thing about him, when we saw him first, he was an amateur in the Pan American Games in 1979 down in Puerto Rico. He had a very good tournament down there. In fact, his only amateur loss was to the outstanding Cuban Aldana.
Well, yes, Tim, he did have a great amateur background, 54 wins, 1 loss in international competition, which means he must be able to do something else besides punch, but we'll see later.
All right, he is from the Dominican Republic, born in Santo Domingo, now living in New York. Here he is coming into the ring, and as we said, in New York, he is becoming quietly a legend. He wants to make that a national legend, currently ranked number 15 in the world by the World Boxing Council, but has not yet fought anybody of the caliber of Marlon Starling. So this is his first real test. His manager there on the left, Howie Albert, feels that he is ready for this. Indeed, a victory over Marlon Starling would have to vault Baret into the top ranks of the welterweights and perhaps get him a world championship opportunity very soon. Jose the Threat Baret, he is raw as Gil Clancy described him, but he can knock you out with either hand. Here comes Marlon Starling. That one loss, the blemish here on CBS against Donald Curry, and in that fight, it was a split decision, and Starling said afterwards, no excuses. Yes, I clowned around a lot, but nonetheless, I've learned from it, and I'm ready to go. We talked to him about that defeat and his taking on Baret today. Here's what he had to say.
Well, the last time I fought on CBS against Donald Curry for the unification of the North American and United States title, it wasn't quite the Magic Man in form. I have no excuses, but today I'll fight Jose Baret. As a matter of fact, I'll knock him out.
All right, Marlon Starling, Gil Clancy, here's a young man who has obviously got an edge and experience, and we'll talk more about him when we return for the start of this 10-round welterweight fight after this word from your local station. All right. right, we are back live at the Sands Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And now let's go to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event of the afternoon. From the Sands Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, Madison Square Garden Boxing Incorporated presents a welterweight bout sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. The boxing commissioner, Jersey Joe Walcott. The judges for this afternoon's contest are John Stewart, Tommy Kazmarek, and Frank Brunette. And the referee is Arthur Mercanti Sr. And now in the red corner, ranked number 15 by the WBC with an undefeated record of 16 wins, 15 by knockout, weighing in at 146 pounds, in the white trunks with red trim, from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, Jose the Threat Baret. And in the blue corner, ranked number 6 by the WBC, with the record of 26 wins, 1 loss, and 17 knockouts, weighing in at 145 and 1/2 pounds, in the blue trunks with gold trim, from Hartford, Connecticut, Marlon the Magic Man Starling.
Marlon Starling, as usual. Good evening. As a crowd here from Hartford to cheer him on. There's the referee, Arthur Mercanti
Earlier in
Sr.
the afternoon, you both know the rules. You must obey these rules, and I'll be here to enforce them. Now, shake hands now, and good luck to both of you. Return to your corners to await the starting bell. Good luck.
There's the tail of the tape. Marlon Starling, 24 years of age, standing 5'7", weighed in at 145.5. Baret came in at 146. He is the same height, but he looks a lot bigger. He has a huge upper body, and of course that has a great deal to do with the punching power. And Starling comes running right out at Baret in the early going. And Gil, what do you think of that?
Well, Tim, Matt Buckley was ready for that. He said that when Baret comes out of a corner, he blesses himself and walks away, and he says, I'm going to try to nail him when he's doing that.
Well, Marlon tried.
Tim, watching Marlon Starling in the gym earlier this week, I really enjoyed myself. He showed it all to me. He's a consummate professional. He can slip a punch, he can block a punch, and more importantly, when he does, he counters. I think the key to this fight, Tim, is going to be if Baret can hit a fighter as good as Starling, and if he does, what's going to happen? Because I do not think that Baret can outpoint him. Starling is too slick.
Starling in the blue trunks. And Baret in white with red trim. Jose Baret, born in Santo Domingo, 21 years of age, now living in New York, as we said earlier, 54-1. As an amateur, made the semifinals of the Pan American Games. Victories over Tom Moody and Richard Gregory. This is his first step up into world-class competition. Marlon Starling with wins over Floyd Mayweather, Juan Hidalgo, Babs McCarthy, before the loss to Donald Curry.
Tim, right now Starling is trying to move side to side and move away from Baret as he did then. But I don't think that's the way.
Starling slipped down, but they're calling it a knockdown. That was definitely a slip.
It was definitely a slip, Tim. As I was going to say, I don't think the way to fight Baret is to stay away from him. I think you have to move inside those wide punches.
Starling got himself off balance there, Gil, and when he kind of jumped forward with what we termed in his outing against Curry as the Starling stump, he just fell down.
You know, one of Starling's sparring partners, Felix Nance, had been knocked out by Baret, and he was telling Starling, be careful, don't let this guy hit you. I don't think that does too much for Starling's psyche, to tell you the truth.
Under a minute to go in round one. That was Felix Nance, the sparring partner of Starling, who was stopped in the second round by Jose Baret. Baret with a solid right hook, but has not been able to land the big one so far. Final seconds. under the 30-second mark of round number 1. Left and right hook to the body by Baret. Starling saying that didn't hurt. Coming to the end now, round number 1. From the Sands Hotel in Atlantic City on the right of your screen is Jose Baret. From New York City on the left is Marlon Starling from Hartford, Connecticut. Now, what was ruled as a knockdown by Baret, we watched on the replay between rounds, and as we called it at the time, it was definitely not a knockdown. It was a slip by Starling. However, Baret, of course, picks up some additional points on the scorecard of that knockdown.
All right, now Starling has changed his strategy, Tim. He's not moving side to side. They told him to bring it to Baret, and that's what he started to do at the beginning of this round. Now he's back dancing again.
The real question for Baret is, could that kind of power that he showed right there, the big right hand, stop the experienced, good boxing tactics of Marlon Starling? Starling, remember, says he'll knock out Baret.
Well, Tim, we mentioned that he's a good counter puncher, slips punches, blocks punches, and punches pretty good himself.
Just looked into his corner to pick up some instructions from his manager and trainer, Mac Buckley.
Baret has a slight abrasion underneath his right eye, Tim. It shouldn't be serious. Blood shouldn't go into the eye, but it's there.
Baret went 8 rounds only once in his professional career, winning an 8-round decision. Otherwise, he has stopped everybody within 3 rounds.
The thing that's surprising me today is the quickness of Baret, Tim. We've seen him fight before where he misses punches by 3 feet, goes off balance, but he's like a coiled spring today. He's in and out, he's moving pretty well.
Under a minute to go, round 2. Starling with 27 throw bouts, Baret with 16. So far, Baret has been boxing this fight. He hasn't come out like a wild man just trying to land that big one. One that did get through did not move Starling at all. Under 30 seconds to go in round 2. Now, Starling backing up Baret, peppering her way at that cut. Starling with Baret pinned in the corner, now lets him out. Final seconds of the second round. A good left hand scored by Starling. An action-packed second round. 3, Jose Baret in the white trunks with red trim. Marlon Starling in blue. And the slugger Baret so far has been unable to land the big haymaker to Marlon Starling, with one exception, which Starling withstood. A late flurry by Starling in round number 2 had Baret backing up. There's a cut under the right eye of Jose Baret. His handler, Howie Albert, doing a good job on it between rounds. It is below the eye. Should not be a problem in terms of vision, but you can be sure Starling will be going after it.
I don't know about that, Tim. When I watched the fighters and they had a guy cut, I used to tell them, forget about the cut, because the guy's looking to protect it and he's opening himself up in other places.
Good point. Starling peppering Baret and backing him up. A wild swinging miss by Baret. Starling is staying very busy here. Now Baret rallies back. Starling a little bit of showboating again, dropping his hands.
Tim, for a guy in his first major fight, Baret is very, very relaxed and very confident.
And very businesslike. The crowd here at the Sands Copa Room really enjoying the action, and of course the chant of Moochie Moochie, a nickname of Marlon Starling, comes out as he backs Baret into the ropes again.
Now he's walking to Baret, Tim. Walking right to him. Trying to back Baret up.
Right hand lead scored by Starling. Under a minute to go, round 3. Mercanti Sr. for a low blow. Scoring will be done by 3 judges at ringside. John Stewart, Tom Kazmarek, and Frank Brunette on the round system here in New Jersey.
Good right hand by Starling, Tim, right on the button.
Starling with Baret pinned in the Starling corner. Lands another right hand over the top. And another. Starling effectively blocking this flurry from Jose Baret. 15 seconds left in round 3. Coming to the end of the 3rd round. For a scheduled 10-rounder from Atlantic City, New Jersey, Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy at ringside. Sugar Ray Leonard in our studios in New York with Brent Musburger. And we're watching 2 welterweights trying to win the crown vacated by Sugar Ray Leonard. Marlon Starling in blue. Jose Baret, who certainly has been a surprise with his boxing ability thus far, but his vaunted power has failed to back up Marlon Starling at any point.
Well, he hasn't nailed Starling clean with the big one, Tim. He may never in the fight. But he's punching with power, especially to the body.
Starling so far has not shown a great deal of respect for the punching power of Baret.
Well, Starling is fighting Baret now the way I feel you should fight a guy like him. Walk to him and take him inside, take some of that power away.
Starling with 17 knockouts of his own. Like Hector Camacho, Starling just loves to be in the ring. As he said about the Curry fight, you know, Tim, I had a lot of fun in that fight. I really enjoyed it. I did everything but win it. He likes to work in the gym, and he likes to be in the fights. Genuine joie de vivre as far as the boxer is concerned.
This has to be a new experience for Baret to be backing up, Tim. Starling is just gradually pressuring him, trying to wear him out.
We said only one man went the distance with Baret, Donald Johnson, on October 16th of 1981, when at 8th-round distance, the decision going to Baret. Otherwise, this is the farthest that Baret has been in his pro career, into the 4th round. Starling with the uppercut, grazed the chin of Baret and backed him up.
He hurt him. He hurt him.
He's got him in the middle. Starling pouring it on, and Baret wisely trying to hold on and stay close. Starling has a chance to finish him. Down he goes, Jose Baret. He's never been stopped in his amateur pro career, and Baret is not going to get up. It is all over. A 4th round knockout for number 6 ranked Marlon Starling. And Starling with a vicious uppercut sent Baret reeling back into the ropes, and then with a great finish jumped all over the young boxer from the Dominican Republic. And so the invincibility of young Baret has been punctured here by the more experienced professional, Marlon Starling, who wants very badly to get himself back into that world title picture with the likes of Donald Curry and Milton McCrory. And this impressive display here today will certainly help him to do so. Let's go back and see it again. Well, he's already scored the uppercut that has backed Baret into the corner here. And there's a solid left hook. Baret relentless there. Starling relentless here.
As strong as Baret is, Tim, he can't hold out to Starling. Starling's a whirlwind in there now.
Baret's instincts were good there to try and hold on, but the experience of Starling and that busy punching power, too much for the 21-year-old youngster from New York City. But a happy Marlon Starling looking on, saying, there's a high five with his handlers. Mac Buckley, Miguel Quiles, and his brother Cody Starling. And so, you've seen the knockout scored in the 4th round by Marlon Starling over Jose Baret. Let's return now to our studios in New York and Brent Musburger.
All right, the Magic Man's delighted, and Sugar Man, you saw it coming, didn't you, with him in the ring?
It was a very strategic fight by Stallings because, if you notice or not, Brent, he stayed close to Baret. And so Baret, he punches from the outside, telegraphed his punches, stayed in close, smothered his punches, little inside shots, did the job.
Was it a lack of experience? Will Baret be able to overcome that now, or will he always have that weakness as a boxer?
That one loss, your first loss, is always a major loss because all of a sudden, if you can't come back, you know, it's like a guy loses for the very first time. You're taking something away from the thought of invincibility.
All right, Sugar Ray, we have got a lot more coming everybody's way here on CBS Sports Saturday, along with...
We have the winner, Marlon Starling, with us. And, Marlon, let's talk first about the knockdown. We did not think that should have been called a knockdown. Did he hit you at all?
No, he didn't hit me. Well, it wasn't a knockdown. My balance was kind of messed up, and I slipped. They called it a knockdown. You know, it didn't bother me once.
Okay, now your sparring partner, Felix Nance, told you to be aware of that power. He had been knocked out in the 2nd round. Here's Jose Baret coming over to congratulate him. And a lot of puffiness around the eyes of Jose Baret. Marlon, your sparring partner, Felix, we're on the air here, guys. Excuse us for a moment, huh? Felix Nance said to watch out for that power, yet it didn't appear to me that while you were boxing in your usually good defensive style, it didn't appear to me that you were too worried about his power.
Well, I'm worried about everybody's power. The object of boxing is hit and don't get hit. So, you know, I had to do what I had to do to be successful in winning this bout.
You predicted that you'd knock him out. Was that just for television, or did you really believe it?
Well, what round is it? What round did I...
That was a 4th round.
I predicted the 5th round, but I'll take it when I get it.
All right, now, Mac Buckley, you're the manager and trainer, Marlon Starling. You've got your fighter very much back in position again now. Certainly most observers feel he's in the top 3 with McCrory and Curry. What are your plans?
We'd like to come back on TV in April, Tim. We'd like to fight Curry after he beats the Korean in the WBA, the first title defense. If he beats it, we'd like to offer him a lot of money to come to Hartford, Connecticut. They can bring the neutral WBA officials.
You want Curry back because of that loss, don't you, Marlon? Let's go back into the replay of the fight of the knockdown. You can see it over here to your left, and this is in slow motion. And it looked like it was the first damaging blow happened just before this was an uppercut. Was that the one that hurt him?
Well, I think I doubled up with an uppercut, and that really hurt him.
But now this is, you've got him in trouble. He's trying to hold on here.
Right, and I just want to keep my hands moving. My manager always told me to put my punches together. And I know that he didn't have any heart, and I was going to bang him until he was on the floor. I got criticized for the Donatore fight that I did a little too much hot dogging. That's my way of fighting. The idea is to win the fight, regardless of how I do it, you know, to win the fight and don't get hurt.
Well, all right. You hot-dogged Lessier, nonetheless. You stayed down to business, especially when you had him in trouble.
Right. You know, I felt I can stop playing around a little bit. I don't play around. I do what I have to do to win the fight.
Marlon, it was an impressive performance for you, and we congratulate you on it. We wish you the best of luck. Certainly, in the welterweight ranks, you are now very much in the forefront.
Thank you. I just want to say hi to Sam Kane. I love you. We're going all the way.
All right. Marlon and Marlon Jr. and his handlers, congratulations again. And now let's return you once more to our...
By coming here, isolating, getting yourself away from your friends, from your family, the ones you really love, the things you really care about, giving up.
Great master of ceremonies. Cue the crowd. I didn't know that. Could you have beaten him, Sugar Ray, when you watch him? He's a tough guy.
He's a very proud champion. I mean, I was very confident I could defeat him, but from that clip, I'm glad I didn't fight him.
I am, too, having watched it. Boy, we want to show everybody Marlon Starling one more time. He, of course, is one of many now who wants to inherit the championship that Sugar Ray Leonard walked away from. And we will have our sports news update here on CBS in just a moment. Sugar Ray Leonard, you come on in here and tell us how it happened.
Well, Brandon, here we see Baret on the attack. And Stallings did the right thing. I mean, he waited for Baret to punch himself out, and then he came on. Here we see him throwing those little short uppercuts, and those are punches that count. He stayed in close. Baret was not able to come back, and here the rest is just a choreographed fight. Baret was not that experienced either. That uppercut did the damage. Right uppercut.
And referee Art Mercanti stepped in and stopped the fight right there, and Marlon Starling on the comeback after his only defeat. And he has a shot now at that championship. We've got some basketball.
At 23 years of age,